The force is strong with this one.
How's it
Commentary
going,
the Dyad
everybody?
Squadron.
Welcome to another episode of Dyad in the Force 141.
Dyad mix-up.
Yes, the mix-up. This week we're talking about anime. And this is also the first week that we are simulcasting to TikTok as well. So welcome to everyone on TikTok, to Dyad in the Force, and welcome everyone who's on YouTube as well. We're going to talk about the fall anime lineup and some fun anime that we've watched thus far, and just kind of go from there. I mean, you know, it's always going to be a chill episode, really, with us.
Yeah, just hanging out. Especially, you know, we are still. I mean, I'm so happy that we are out of the writer's strike. That's amazing. And you know what it means? That means nothing, because the actors are still on strike, and so we have to wait for that to resolve first. The companies are still struck, just no longer by the writers.
You know what's funny is that if the actors get their deal within the next week, and we can talk about shows, if the actors strike for games, then we'll have flipped the script and we can't talk about games. You know what I mean? But I can still talk about the game that I work on because we don't use a lot of actors. So,
which is funny because, you know, when we got to go to Comic-Con and hang out with the developers behind the upcoming Star Wars Outlaws, maybe we can go to another con and just hang out with the actors.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'd like to meet them, really. You know, that'd be cool. That'd be sick.
How's it going, Candela Flores? And Kenny? Shout out to Kenny for being a member for 16 months as an anime fan. Samurai Forever.
Samurai Forever? Yeah, we checked out a few samurai-related things today. And
yeah,
they were dope.
So, I mean, I can get this conversation started. And it's probably going to be a surprise to Choco as well. And of course, if you guys want to call in and talk to us about whatever we're talking about or whatever you want to talk about, you can head on over to the YouTube side. The link to call in will be there. And I'm putting it there now. But we're still talking to you guys on TikTok. We're talking to everybody on the red platform as well. Let's see here. Sammy or Connor asks, did you like the live action? Oh wait, no. Sammy asks, a Rotten Tomato critic rated the new Transformers movie terrible, and he commented, who wants to see old junk fight? To which I respond, me. You know, as far as I'm concerned, Rotten Tomatoes can kick rocks, really, because
I mean, Rotten Tomatoes, specifically them, have become less than useless, in my humble opinion, because
true.
They spent first of all, their rating system out of the gate is nonsensical. All right, something being certified fresh, it means like the critics give it a binary, like I liked it or I didn't like it, and then that's what that whole thing is based off of. And then for the longest time, and there's still problems with it, they don't vet people who are commenting. So you don't even have to have seen the movie. You could vote many times. It's just the least reliable one.
It's also an aggregate of sources that not all of the sources give a numerical rating either.
Yeah.
Right. So like, if someone from like the LA Times does a review and they're like, I enjoyed it. There are a couple of problems. Where do they get like a 60 or a 70 from that? It's weird. All of them are useless, to be honest. If you enjoy something, you enjoy it. Don't let anyone change your mind. Yeah.
So I think critics are very valuable, but I think the thing that people are missing is that and like you have to find the critic that likes stuff that you generally like and dislikes stuff that you generally dislike, and then that person's advice is going to help you a lot.
Yeah. Kenny on the Red platform says, facts, Rotten Tomatoes has always been bad, never had listened to them. So one-sided.
I mean, the only people that use Rotten Tomatoes like these days are people who use it to spread hate. That's what I that's typically what I see.
I think in general, the only people to use anything is the people who really need to use it. You know, I know that sounds self-evident, but like I really don't need to affirm what I like and dislike with numbers or reviews. If I like a perfect example, since we're talking about anime, I love Bleach, and I've tried several times to get my friend Cal4, who streams on Twitch, to watch it, and he has given it a shot and just doesn't like it. So I'm not gonna be like, well, you really need to continue watching it because it's certified fresh. I'll never say that. Like, apparently he just doesn't like it. So same with
which is okay. You know, yeah. I love The Last Jedi. Critics also loved The Last Jedi. Does that make it good and everyone should like it? No, like what you want to like. But you notice how it's like it's always absent that like, oh, well, critics liked it, therefore it must be good quality. It's only using the inverse.
Yeah,
that's the thing that weirds me out.
I think critic reviews and in general reviews are additive to someone's experience rather than deterministic.
It should be. Also, I mean, it takes me back to the Brie Larson days, like the reason why she was so hated, and she was right too. She just said that, hey, the critics who review these movies don't represent the demographics of people going to see the movies. Therefore, it's going to be skewed. We shouldn't take any seats away from anyone who currently has it. We just need to add more seats to the table. And you're like, that's a super reasonable thing to think.
Yeah. How's it going, Hinton Star Wars family? It's kind of like politics today. Not to talk about politics, but just in general, I'll speak on this, is that like it's a bunch of old white guys drawing up legislation and policy for people who are not all white, but also people who are young. So like they're making decisions for the next generation. And so like I think critics could stand to have younger people and more diverse people doing the reviews as well. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, things have changed and very, very quickly. So like it stands to reason for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. We were originally going to have Freddy's Movement on there, so it seems that he's canceled. But
he did not cancel.
I know.
He rescheduled because things in New York are wet. So
yeah, New York is underwater.
So he has rescheduled for next week, and we're hoping that next week, by that time, the actors will have got their stuff, and we can freely talk about Togruta, as I'm saying, as the show is called. Let's see here. User 882013149926 says it's just that last movie could have been written better and more planned. I mean, that statement could be said about any video or any movie, really. It really just depends on what you took away from it. It's actually really, really, really low on my list. If you're talking about the last movie of the saga, it's really low on my list.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that's okay.
Yeah. But what we've built our platform on is correcting a lot of what makes other people hate it on the grounds of like Palpatine coming back. I mean, it's fine if you hate it for that reason, but for me personally, it makes sense that he's back, but that didn't make it good. Like, it was still a botched execution on their part. Like Choco always says, Fortnite announcement didn't really make sense. Shout out to Cal, who's been a member of the Dyad squad for 26 months, says Watashi ga kita, which means he's here. Welcome. Yokoso.
Do you think the director firing, hiring a new one, and then rehiring the old one affected the movies?
I think to an extent there is an effect, yes.
I think well, so there's one thing I feel like a lot of people forget is that J.J. Abrams was intricately involved in all of the films, right? Like, he was executive producer on The Last Jedi. Rian Johnson was sending him dailies and stuff. It's not like it was done in a vacuum. So him taking the reins back when they had a time crunch was actually the most logical choice to make. Now, I do feel like his style changed for the final movie, and it felt different than the first movie. And there's a lot of things I would have done very, very differently. But yeah, I don't know. I wish we could get rid of this whole there was no plan thing. Like, we've seen the plan. The best part though is seeing that, like, Dave Filoni was part of who planned the sequel trilogy, and and how many people refuse to acknowledge that.
I think in general, you know, having planned out a movie with an original director and then changing that during the course will have a certain effect. Do I think that
absolutely
is the sole cause of why many people consider them to be bad? No, I think a lot of people consider them to be bad because they are on the carriage, and there's a certain part of the YouTube community that is pulling the carriage, you know, and
yeah, and that's really what it is.
Yeah,
half of this is bad or this is bad writing. When you talk to those people, boils down to, this is what I thought was going to happen, this is what I wanted to happen, this is what I didn't want to happen, and it happened. That doesn't make it bad or wrong. It's oftentimes your prediction was just off, you know. I said, in my opinion, I didn't want Kyle to have a redemption arc. I wanted him to be the Palpatine, and that's fair.
Cool too.
I would have loved to see him embrace the evil for a bit longer. That's one of my big things. Is I wish that we had another movie, you know, after he took the reins, and I wanted to see him run the First Order into the ground. You know, I think that would have been, or what rule would be like having a Force user who doesn't have any of the political acumen or military training, because it wouldn't go well. And I would love to see that as like the version of Anakin from Revenge of the Sith, who was like, well, I can overthrow the Emperor and all this stuff. This would be like, what if that happened? And you can kind of see how that would play out. And then you could still have Palpatine come in the final one, to do his thing, you know?
So Matt Shore says, I enjoy them. I just do my best to see what the haters see to get a perspective on both sides. So
yeah.
Part of that is actually also how we can distinguish the wagon for people's individual opinions, right? Because for the most part, you can tell who's part of the wagon. You can tell Palpatine's return ruined the prophecy. Rey was poorly written. Rey didn't have any training. She's not a Skywalker. And like, these people will think they're being very individualistic about saying that stuff, but their self-awareness for the fact, their awareness or lack of, when the entire side of that fandom says those stuff, you're like, are you sure you got this by yourself, or is somebody echoing it, like, or parroting in your ear, and you are therefore parroting? Like, we listen to a lot of people criticize the sequels and criticize all of Star Wars, and usually their criticisms are very different.
That's how I became friends with Mesa Windu. You know, he was going off on how much he hated The Last Jedi, and I was like, oh man, this guy's spitting. Like, he's got great points that are actually valid. It's not, you know, have Cal saying, you know, I wish for that, or the opposite, I wish we could have gotten Ben for longer too. That would have been nice. I do wish that we had more of Ben, or at least some dialogue with Ben. But at the same time, they were very clear that the Skywalker saga was coming to an end, and that told me all I needed to know about what was going to happen to him personally.
Well, I mean, to what Cal says, wishing to have had Ben for longer, I think goes hand in hand with what people were saying about their opinions on Kylo, whether they wanted him to be the Palpatine or not. But like, neither was satisfactory, because he was not Palpatine, but he was not Ben either. Like, literally his only line as Ben was "ow," so there was not enough
I smell profit.
Connor super chatted a 96 cents ramen drop.
Hey Connor, thanks for the ramen drop. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
What's up, Jedi Historian? But yeah, so as I was saying, like, you didn't get either, right? So people who wanted Kylo to be the Palpatine, be the big bad, didn't get it. People who wanted to see more of Ben didn't get it. They got a little bit of it, and then that was that. So like, I get, it's ironic.
A little too ironic. Another thing, with each saga, George always had an allegory to current political events that were happening. The sequel strayed from that. The sequels did not stray from that.
Sequels didn't stray from it at all.
Were painfully on the nose when it came to, you know, like, the First Order is not the Empire. I think that's a problem that a lot of people have, is they try to force them into one. No, the First Order are people who like what the Empire did and are bringing it back. Kind of like, you know,
making America great again.
It's like right now I mean, they're literally neo-Nazis and groups like the far-right extremist groups coming back, and they are literally the people who admired, you know, these past things so much that they're bringing it back. It was horribly on the nose.
Yeah, so just to provide context here for our response to that, I'm going to read a passage from The Art of the Rise of Skywalker, and this is from a 2014 intellectual property development group meeting. So they're talking about the entire trilogy. They're talking about episode 8 and 9 in this meeting, right? So when they tell you it's not planned, and they're planning these movies back in 2014, Pablo Hidalgo says, I can imagine her being the one to break through our villain, Rey, or Leia. Dave Filoni says, I love that. I love too that I look back down this table and we're presided over Padme. There's a powerful idea there about this matriarchy coming back and subverting what has always been dominantly patriarchal in male heroes, Zeus, Hercules, and everything else. What happens with Kylo and what he does to his father is structurally not a redeemable act. There's no coming back from that, the way he does it currently. but I've never seen the mother figure trying to do it, and maybe she could. And John Knoll says, the super intriguing setup in Empire. That boy is our only hope. No, there is another. I felt cheated in Jedi that this really didn't go anywhere. But maybe Yoda is really talking about what happens with Leia in 30 years in the future. I'm gonna go forward a little bit with Dave Filoni saying, there is something happening culturally. You look at birth regeneration, the world itself needing healing. All of those things are emblematic of the mother character in myth. They are all matriarchal things. Mother Earth itself. Global warming is a hot topic. George Lucas was always so good at tapping into what's happening in culture, and he hits us with it. The idea that we have Leia, a mother character who needs healing in her own right, that's something we can get into in a deeper way. So already in 2014, they were having meetings about culture, what was happening at the time, and how they were going to do the George Lucas of it, basically.
Yeah.
That's right, Captain Benny 12. Don't know how much you're speaking on Ahsoka yet, but thoughts on Balin? I love his character, R.I.P. Ray. We'll have more to talk about next week should the actors get their deal with the AMPTP. But, you know, as we've been saying each week, just to kind of whet everyone's curiosities, loving the show.
Absolutely.
But we'll definitely have a lot of thoughts on Balin, but we'll share that when we can.
One thing I will say is I feel very strongly that 99% of the people talking about Abeloth coming in have not read the Fate of the Jedi series. And which is cool, which is fine. You know, a lot of people know of Abeloth from a YouTube video people made or from Wikipedia, but I promise if you read Fate of the Jedi, it's such a random thought.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to new Star Wars post Disney, where do you rank Andor since politics came up? I rank Andor number 1.
Yeah.
And I also rank Ahsoka number 1 because they hit two very, very different parts of my fandom and my sensibilities. Like, one is like that thrilling, epic, brilliantly written, like, drama. And then the other is like, here's all your Force lore, you bitch. And I'm like, oh gosh, thank you so much. So
the Force lore is top notch. I will say one of it feels like for me at least, it feels like a really good cake that has a little too much frosting. You know what I mean? It's good. Just a little too much frosting. But we'll get into that next week.
Yeah. But severely off topic for today's mix-up anime edition.
This is true. Man, I also was really hyped to talk about the cinemacification of movie criticism, but we'll talk about that next week.
So I do want to start off the conversation with this anime edition episode with the fact that I started JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Okay, how far did you get in it? Because it took me several attempts to make it past 3 episodes.
I got up to episode 4.
Absolutely hate it.
I got up to episode 4. I watched it straight through and through. And this show is the literal embodiment of the phrase that escalated quickly. It is also a telenovela at the same time and a soap opera. It is, wow. Like, they went hard in the first 10 minutes and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it is, like the name says, it is a bizarre adventure. I can't wait for you to get you a few places, because they input just the most random stuff, like the most random abilities and all this stuff. And also the show, it just becomes a different show in the next season too. It's weird. But yeah, the first 2 episodes you're like, is this like a Victorian vampire show? What is this? And it just becomes a different show.
No, it literally, like, every episode was just a further escalation every 2 minutes. And like when I started watching, I was like, oh cool, this is a cool setup. And then like JoJo came into the picture and Dio came into the picture, and like I was like, oh okay, so we got these two characters. Oh okay, then they're internal rivals. That's great. All right, what are we gonna see next? And then finally, like 18 years later or something, just like quickly, let's get through this. Then they're mortal enemies, and like there's just this plot took place over like 10 minutes.
There is no way in hell the creators were sober writing this. First of all, and also all of the music references, which I love. Being friends with the REO Speedwagon, like I love Speedwagon. I know. Oh yeah, no, so do I. But it just leads me to believe that he put on a bunch of rock and then just did a bunch of like cocaine and then started writing.
No, but for real, like literal, that escalated quickly. Like I kept on saying that as I was watching all the time. I'm like one after the other. This show skipped so much story. In the first episode, oh, you're here to rescue me, Jojo. Oh, Jojo, you're being a bad boy, Jojo. Oh, here's Dio. Oh, Dio's manners. Yes, Dio. Jojo, you suck.
He killed the dog.
Eternal rivals. Oh, what's this box? Oh, I don't care. Light it on fire. What the hell? So everybody going through life in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is like literally just kind of like whatever.
Yeah, they're just like whatever. We're just super buff for no reason. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, it's a great show. It's a lot of fun. Where are you in your One Piece journey now?
I haven't gotten any further since, and that's not for lack of want to, but again, just like with like games popping off, anime's popping off, and I'm like, and I've started like 6 more anime, and I just just too much.
There is for sure too much, because I still haven't even. So the second season of Jujutsu Kaisen starts in the past, and I was like, okay, so we're kind of taking a little bit of a break, so I can wait and come back to this, and I haven't because there's been other stuff going on.
We have a caller,
I am also.
But keep going.
I am also really loving One Piece, because it's doing some cool things, and I'm still somewhere in the middle, I guess in the late second, third, but there's been like a significant power up with our characters that I haven't seen yet. It makes me really excited.
Welcome to the show, Cal4.
Hello.
Streams on Twitch, twitch.tv/Cal4. Also, to answer Matt Short's question, how new are you guys to anime? I have been watching anime for 35 years.
So
I'm pretty new.
Subtitle some of the OG anime.
I had to fan sub Naruto. I had to fan sub Bleach. I fan subbed Ice Shield 21. If any of you remember that.
I'm pretty sure I watched some of your fan subbed Naruto.
I probably did.
If you watched any fan subs from the team Rasengan, then you did.
Yeah. Absolutely. I for sure did.
Yeah,
like all of mine, I got into Naruto after they had just started ship it in. And so my friend had you know, in the CD holders, you know, with this little thing, and
The spindles.
he had one of those. Yeah, he had a spindle that just had burned DVDs of all of the episodes all the way up. And so that's how I just binged all of it straight through. And I think I lost like a week of my life, but
I had those in a like one of those padded like binder things with like the zipper, and it had all like the like felt CD sleeves. I had that, and it was like just pages of like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, and a bunch of different ones just burnt on and just handwritten on like what each one was.
Yeah.
Y'all youngins don't know what it was like when there the internet wasn't like a consistent place. You know, you couldn't just get it. And if you found it, it wasn't subtitled until people like him did it. You know.
I also finished subtitling an anime that wasn't finished. So there was an anime called Dragon Warrior in the US, Dragon Quest, Able no Yusha in Japan, that only localized 12 episodes in the West. And as a kid, I was like, that can't be the end of this anime. Because they were just like, all right, time to go on an adventure. And then for the next 6 years, I was like, when are you coming back for this adventure?
Yeah, when's the adventure? I'm ready.
So as an adult, I found the DVDs that weren't subtitled because it was Japanese DVDs, and I finished the series for a lot of people. But I was laughing for a different reason because I saw somebody called Jimothy join. It's just funny. What's up, Jonathan Cho in over on the red platform?
Hey, Mike Chen in the house.
So Matt Short asks, so you just waited a very long time for One Piece? Yes. I grew up on Naruto, Dragon Ball, and Bleach. And, you know, it's really difficult to follow like a lot of different long-running series. And I just I chose those three instead of One Piece.
When something's that long, it's intimidating to like try, you know. And also I'm as kind of a completionist, I don't think One Piece was that good out of the gate. I'm sorry, people. It took me a long time where I still watched it, but to get heavily invested in it, you know. Now it's amazing, but
for me, I used to actually subscribe to Shonen Jump and get like the random issues, and it would have Naruto, One Piece, Shaman King, a bunch of others in there too. And I remember going through and reading them, and the one that really caught me was Naruto. I'm like, wow, I just love this art style. I would try and draw it very poorly. And
Cheerios.
every character I ever drew always had to have one eye covered with a freaking headband, Kakashi style. It was great. But I never got into One Piece. I just didn't really like the art style right away. And yeah, it just translated to me never watching the anime as well. Now I need to, because it's blowing up so much. So
Yeah.
added to the list.
It's kind of how I interacted with One Piece. Like, I got into it by like episode 10, and now I'm at episode like 82, but I haven't really gone further than that in like the last couple of weeks because anime has been coming back and JJK is back and these new animes that I want to watch. Noblesse, the new Rurouni Kenshin that's been redrawn instead of rebooted. It's like
I'm hyped for that.
It's pretty dope. And then this there's this new one called Frieren, which is absolutely beautiful. Did you start it?
oh yeah. No, I watched the first 2 episodes, and man, it hit my heart in a weird way, and it's cool because the thing I love is that we end up getting like these defined genres.
Yep.
And then we continue to push the envelope. So like this was the genre, and then now we're trying to push beyond what that was, and we end up in all these in-between places. So I did watch all of the ones that you recommended I check out for the episode. But Cal, have you heard of this one, Frieren?
I haven't.
It was actually when we were watching Jujutsu Kaisen yesterday. It was the first one I added to my watch list.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
I was watching you adding a bunch. The one that really excited me was JoJo's. That was just like, yes,
Bro, I don't know if you were here, but god damn it, like in the first 5 minutes, I got like 6 seasons of someone's life.
Oh, did you start it?
Absolutely
he's on-
started it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He did the first 4 episodes.
I will say season 1 for me is a little bit of a slow burn, and it
Slow?
starts out.
Yes.
It starts out so like
yes.
not at all what I was expecting from JoJo's at all. I'm like, where is all of like the funky fresh? Why are we in this weird Victorian era vampire drama? Like what?
No, but I literally called it like the embodiment of the phrase that escalated quickly, because like
Yes.
there like in the first few moments where he like the father is being quote unquote rescued, it goes to such an extreme with JoJo, and then like Dio appears and goes to another extreme, and then they're rivals, and then like he's literally essaying Irina and like there's a fight to the death, and then that stops, and then they're suddenly like
Fake best friends. Yeah, no, it is bizarre. It is aptly titled.
yeah.
Lick, 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 lick.
But
I just saw, by the way, they hit us with another season of Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?
oh my gosh, really? I
didn't know
watch that
I didn't know it was a
too.
thing.
I haven't. That's one I haven't started yet.
I do want to
Oh,
bring
Brandon,
Go ahead.
there is a movie I wanted to show you. I haven't seen it, but it was brought to my attention from one of my friends, and it seems. Well, I mean, this is for all three of us, really, completely right up all of our alley. Called Inu O. I don't know if you guys have seen it at all.
Inu. Is it Inu, dog, and then O, or is it Inuo?
Inu-O. I want to say.
Okay.
I'm down to check it out as always.
Yeah, it came out in 2021. I've only heard good things. It is very heavily like music oriented as well. So that's one that like I want to have a watch along between all three of us, because I think it's completely right up all of our alley.
That sounds interesting.
Oh, is that a live action? They have a
Nope.
live action too.
They might, but it was the anime one.
So it's going to give you the I guess the elevator pitch for the free run one.
Oh.
It's a beautifully told, and it's slow paced, and it's something you marinate in and just cry. Artwork is amazing on it, but it's a question I've always wanted answered, because when you have fantasy elements, elves are super long lived. So like, what does that look like for them if you're making these friends, but they're not going to live anywhere near as long as you? So this show starts after an epic quest that saved the world and defeated this demon king or whatever, and we're following the elf character, and for them it was like they were on a 10-year journey, and she was like, yeah, it was just a mere 10 years. Like that's nothing. And it's a journey of them kind of going from apathetic to understanding humanity and the preciousness of life and the passage
What
of
time
time.
really means, yeah.
I mean, essentially,
That sounds pretty magical.
essentially, it's the isekai that you didn't know you wanted to watch, right? It's like the adventure's done. What happens after that? Where do they go? Like they get old, and
What is purpose
and
at that point?
life goes on. What is the life after adventures?
Yeah.
And
But
I
also
never thought I
guys-
wanted to see that.
It also has this Last Jedi kind of feel to Last Jedi / Knights of the Old Republic 2 feeling, where
Okay,
we
yeah,
are-
this is
we're hearing about these epic heroes, but you also have this one person who was there, and the tale and the reality are kind of what people remember 50 years from now. And then the reality of like, oh, they were an absolute idiot when they were doing this thing, is just really funny and interesting. I was surprised with it.
Yeah, it sounds completely like something that I would eat up. So
Matt Short says the show's super character driven rather than the regular plot we often see in most fantasy animes. It's super refreshing, kind of like Mushoku Tensei.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Like, the plot is done. now let's talk about characters. Plot already happened.
I actually kind of feel like it's the plot is done. Now what?
mm-hmm.
Like, the question of now what, of course, leads to character driven stories, but it's like, now what? Like, there's no purpose in anyone's life. They have to find it. It's like one of the characters is like, I've always wanted to like do a job where I get paid to drink.
I've always wanted to go to Madison Square Garden.
I've always wanted to Square Mountain. That's basically it. If like Rush Hour 4 like was
There's
like,
no conflict.
it was just right after they solved the case and they were like, let's go to Madison Square Garden, you know. And that's the movie. They're at Madison Square Garden just watching a hockey game. But
listen,
yeah.
I almost swear to God, I almost want them to just be like, okay, new movie coming out, Rush Hour 10, and you're like, what? And it's them old, like in an old folks home, and they're just reminiscing about the past, but they both like recollect things very differently for the events.
Yeah.
And we get, you know, like, what would that be? 7 movies worth of adventures in this one. I think that could be potentially hilarious.
TJ in the chat, how's it going? Can't add to this conversation, but good to see you guys live again. Hope all is well. All is well.
All is well. Yep, very well. Again, just less content in general while the strike is going on, because it hurts my heart.
Yeah. Where is that at now? I thought that there's a lot of progress made either with the actors portion or the writers portion.
Writers portion's done.
Okay.
And they got everything that they so basically they got protections about from AI, where that won't remove any of their credits from projects. It's not going to be used to rewrite their stuff and remove like their residuals or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
They will get the correct amount of pay. The same pay that they would get for a network is what they will get when writing for a streaming service. And they will also now get residuals based off of the success of the project, because that was the big problem, is you could do something for Netflix, get paid for it, and that could be the biggest show in the world for the foreseeable future, and you got nothing for that. Like, there's a lot of things that
they have to
were
share.
really important.
The streamers have to share streaming hours to the unions, so that
that's good.
They can get residuals off of the streaming hours, because like like, you know, it's the same as syndication really, but they didn't have syndication on streamers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so if a show is mildly successful, but like later on down the line it starts stream, like, you know how a movie on Netflix can trend all of a sudden and it's like a movie from 2011. I'm like, why am I seeing this? But
it just
like,
happens to get discovered and blown up by social media.
Exactly. So that happens. That means that person gets additional residuals now. But they also got increased in minimum work contracts. So like, I don't know the specifics, but if like if they sign on to do like a 12 episode show, they're guaranteed to have employment for a set amount of time that is comparative to a 12 episode season. So it's not like you can write 12 episodes in a week and, you know, lose your job afterwards.
But we're still waiting on the
On the
actor
actors.
portion for everything.
Yeah.
And is there any like update or progress on that, or is there talks happening, or is it still?
Last I heard, the next meeting is on Monday. But I mean, realistically speaking, if you already gave the Writers Guild everything they were asking for, you can't begin production yet.
Exactly.
So like
It's-
they have to. It makes no sense to not resolve it. You know.
It's also fascinating to see how much money was lost by them not listening to the writers and everything, and how much they're spending to just take care of it being so much less than what was lost if they would have just listened to begin with.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I didn't confirm it. I heard the number was somewhere around 46 million that it would have costed.
that's what I heard too.
And then they were like, they dumped like 500 million down the toilet just so that they could save that 46. And you're like, you realize you could have paid for this for a long
Your math
time.
isn't mathing.
I don't know.
Aiden O'Brien, we're not talking about Ahsoka, but we absolutely love the show. We'll definitely have a lot of we'll dump a lot like next week if the actors get what they want. So we'll have Freddy's
Yeah, the
roommate
floodgates will for sure open.
If and also when it ends, I will be for a short period of time bringing back the High Ground podcast and have people on. We'll go episode by episode once a week to give an outlet for everyone else who couldn't talk about it and wanted to. But also might be interesting to do all this stuff in arrears, where we have the full season, and so now we can see where things were going. So obviously there will be a lot less predictions, but hopefully a lot more connections.
Yeah, I think the irony behind a lot of that is because there hasn't been a lot of talk around it. People have just been able to just watch it week to week and kind of consume it as an entire thing before really voicing their opinions. So I think that hopefully there's going to be just a lot less negativity on it right out of the gate, like there were with pretty much every other show. Like, episode 1 came out and I don't understand the whole story, therefore bad. It's like, calm down.
But there will be a tentative Ahsoka episode next week with Freddy's roommate. Should the strikes end by the week's end, we will have up to episode. No, this is the last episode on Tuesday.
Yeah,
so we will have the
we'll
whole
be there.
show. We'll talk about the whole show next week on Saturday with Freddy's roommate, and if Cal wants to join for that, he can as well. But that'll be when we dump all of this stuff on you guys.
Yeah, and hopefully, because when we do the whole thing, I want to also try to get Christy on for that as well, if she's finished it.
Not me, just like, oh, you guys going to take a dump on everybody on Saturday?
And then Loki. Yeah?
Yep. I honestly
Psycho-
didn't even know that was a thing until like yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't been paying attention to the larger release schedule of anything, really. Psych NP Giver, thanks for the rose. Quantum, thanks for the heart me.
Now, there was another anime that Pep asked for me to check out, and it was called Reign of the Seven Spellblades. And I was like, when I opened up Crunchyroll, I saw that artwork like a couple days ago, and I was like, I want that. Like I
actually
the concept
didn't
of a spellblade
get to
is
it.
really cool.
I actually
Okay.
didn't get to it, but if you could give your elevator pitch for it.
Elevator pitch, Harry Potter with swords.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's what it is. So these kids are coming to this school that's going to teach them magic. Now these kids all wield swords. They're all spell blades, and the idea is, if something is magic is your long range stuff, and if something is too soon for you to conjure a spell, You need to be physically capable of fighting. So these kids all come from different backgrounds. So in the first episode, you end up finding out like it's almost like if you take it's Harry Potter with swords, but it's also Fire Emblem, the Three Houses. I don't know if you played that game.
I haven't played it, but I know of it.
These kids are in school together, and they're like, yeah, my family is from this area up north, and this is how we do things up there.
Hey,
my family's from this
Sacramento.
area. Yeah, like in my family, I'm the first generation that has shown the ability to use magic, you know, and you have one chick who's just like just a samurai, and she's like, I don't really know anything about magic.
I know my favorite character.
And it's, oh man, and it steps around some of the tropes that there's certain things that I thought were going to instantly fall into these specific tropes, you know. And I've only seen the first 2 episodes, so I know I'm not spoiling too much, but like it walks up, samurai chick is like looks like she's bathing, and so they do the whole embarrassing thing. But he notices like she's got a crap ton of scars. She doesn't know much about magic, but she comes from like war.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But and is trying to be like a regular person, but she has an interesting relationship with battle and the concept of killing and all this stuff that makes their relationship really interesting. And then of course they're in this big Hogwarts style school where like weird things happen at nighttime to the building, and I don't know. It's Harry Potter with swords.
I'm into it, you know. I the reason I didn't get to it is because I got into JoJo's and watched 4 of that instead of 2 of it. So I'm definitely gonna watch that. Love me a female samurai, which always frustrates me with like people who hate women-led anything. It's like why
Yeah. Never understood like the apparent stigma to it for some people. I'm just like, it's
Oh no, I get it.
cool.
oh yeah, they want their self-insert gym bro leading the charge.
What I think, and I don't even think it's intentional, and I think most people don't even know that they're doing it. But like, if you scroll through TikTok, I'm sure you guys have seen the Manosphere like bro podcasts and stuff, right? Where they talk about like, I only want to grow with a low body count, and like, she better not have any kids. And they're like, well, what if she's like has a job and is super successful? They're like, pass, you know. And all of that stuff adds together to be like they want someone who has no abilities or no skills and no history or anything of themselves, no autonomy outside of the identity of the dude.
That just sounds
And
boring.
but then think about, you know, those people are like, no, but this is just natural because we want to protect it and all. Now imagine that person watches a show that's female led. The qualities that they look for is not what that character is exuding. So of course they don't resonate with it, and they probably don't even know why.
I guess I just don't ever watch a show expecting the like main character to be something I'm looking for in that way.
Yeah, honestly, the gender thing never even comes up in my mind when I'm watching a show. I'm just like,
Are they
that
cool?
character's
Do they come from an interesting place? Do they have a good story to tell? Then I'm in. It's simple.
Yeah, I think for the most part, anybody that is just anybody really that is just
A well-adjusted
normal, they're gonna see a story, and they're going to see that apparently that is the main character. They're not going to be like, well, she can't be the main character. She's a female. No. For us, it's like whatever the story presents as the protagonist, that is it.
Although I will say, I had that feeling when I started watching Fairy Tale, because I was like, this Natsu guy can't be the main character. This is about Urza, right? Like, where's my Urza Scarlet show? That's all I want.
Well, the good thing about Fairy Tail is that the guild is the main character.
Yeah.
Is it a good show, Pep?
Oh, you were being cheeky.
I think he's hinting at your necklace.
The necklace.
It is a great show.
Mhm.
It's literally
I need
one
to
of
watch
those
more of it.
It's actually like Naruto, except it kind of
How?
it kind of backs off on the Naruto aspect and gives you the entire guild, and you're like, do you
Yeah.
like?
That's why I want to watch more Black Clover too,
It
because it
starts
seems
off
like a
as-
show that's very much so about the people.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Choco?
Oh, I was gonna say, Fairy Tail starts out selling you like Naruto, and then it turns into One Piece.
That's true. So, how much of Fairy Tail have you watched?
Honestly, all I've watched was what was on Netflix at the time, and it was only like a season or two. And I don't even know if it was like the start of the show or like they could only get like seasons 3 and 4. But I wanted to watch more. It just wasn't available, and then I eventually got Crunchyroll and was watching too many other things, so I haven't ever gotten back around to it. But I did really enjoy it, and I was really pissed when I was like, "That's it?
Oh,
There's no more?" Like, okay, well,
so all right. So next question.
this was too long ago for me to honestly remember what wound up happening in it all.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately.
So you know, I was gonna give you the cheeky quiz of who's your favorite character and why is it Gajeel?
I don't know if I know who that is.
He was the
Gajeel's
Iron
cool.
Dragon Slayer.
I don't know if they were in it.
Oh,
It was, for me, it was really just Natsu, Iceman dude whose name I can't remember,
Gray.
Gray. How can I not
Interesting that the
remember
character-
that as a name?
The character who couldn't keep his clothes on was a
Right.
male in this one. That's unique. I
Yeah.
didn't even think about that.
And then Ezra and Happy. Or Urza.
Urza.
Sorry.
Happy.
Yeah, I love Happy.
Oh man, I need a Happy plush. For real. I think my only Fairy Tail fandom is this necklace.
I don't think I've ever seen you not wear that necklace, too.
I'm in the guild, man. I gotta.
Got a rep.
I'm not gonna. Unfortunately, for personal reasons, I'm not gonna get a tattoo. But this is my guild crest on me. So how's it
I
going,
mean,
Logan?
to be fair,
Logan Singleton, what's up?
the whole taboo against tattoos in Japan kind of makes me sad that I have one.
Doesn't
from,
really
like-
matter. You're not Japanese.
Yeah, but apparently it's still something that, like, I don't know.
It's not like you're gonna show up and they're
Hey,
gonna go.
but doesn't
Yakuza.
I was gonna say, but doesn't that feeling make like, Tokyo Revengers like having a big old dragon up
He's
the
a
side of your
Yankee
head?
now,
right?
Like, it's
He's a
so
Yankee
freaking-
and an actual Yankee.
yeah.
He's the American Yankee and also a Gith Yankee.
Can you guess who I was super into in
Urza, right?
Fairy Tail? I mean, yeah, Urza for sure. Also,
valid.
Lexus.
Raxus. I was gonna ask you why Raxus was here.
Lexus.
It is
Lexus.
It is
Okay.
Raxus, but they say
That actually
Daxus.
makes more sense. Yeah.
But you're talking about the Guildmaster's son and
Yeah.
Lightning dude. But no, I don't need to know why he's your favorite.
Oh!
I also
Kenny just saw live action Rurouni Kenshin.
yeah.
Hey.
Fantastic live action show. Watched the first 3 episodes of the new redone show. So, what was behind the show coming out again?
They just wanted to redo it. I mean, they tried doing the Kyoto arc alone, but I think I think the interest was there to just see them kind of update the anime, and not in the sense of making it HD or just kind of like remastering it. I think people wanted to see updated visuals, updated animation standards with today's animation. And given after 2 episodes, it's got promise. It's following the manga very closely. The animation has improved. It is very vibrant and very up to standards with today's anime. I don't expect the A-team to animate a fight scene until they get to Jin A, or the guy in the movie, who did Shin no Ippo, which is the hypnotism, because he's the first real arc,
Real boss. Yeah.
of the manga, and so they're just getting started. They did the whole like the Batosa is running amok, and then he's like, oh, he's like, that's not me. But it looks good. Can't
really
wait
does.
to continue.
Can we also talk about how good live action adaptations of anime have been getting?
They found their footing, honestly.
Oof.
It
Especially with
started
Tokyo
Kenshin.
Revengers, that was so perfect.
It started with Kenshin, and Bleach, and they kind of lost their footing with Full Metal Alchemist. But
Oh, I didn't realize that came out. I thought that was a fever dream.
no, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, as long as it's not done by Netflix. No Death Note live action.
Attack on Titan was pretty bad, but for the most
But
part,
there's also been some smaller ones like Erased and stuff like that are
yeah.
solid watches.
But definitely for sure, the Tokyo Revengers one was like the hottest live
So
action
good.
of recent memory. Like when we think of Kenshin, the live action, it's like they did a really good job of representing the story and giving us Kenshin, right? But like Tokyo Revengers gave us like perfect casting, perfect music, perfect cinematography, perfect emotion, perfect acting.
Yeah.
And it's just like
The cast alone being so spot on honestly made me forget I was watching the live action adaptation while we were watching it. Even though obviously it is. It was just so close. I'm like, yeah, this is just Tokyo Revengers. It was great.
Kenny says he might watch the movies first, then watch the shows. I wouldn't have anything against that either. Honestly, the movies do a really good job of condensing a lot of the Kyoto arc and the Inishi arc. So it's a good way to kind of like christen or baptize yourself within the story of Kenshin in like movie format, especially his origin with what they call the beginning with Tomoe.
You know, something I do gotta ask, because I didn't watch the anime originally. This remake, is it safe to say that it's a lot faster paced? Because it felt like it had the pacing of current anime, which I don't know, leads me to believe that originally it would probably be like 2 episodes for each one.
No, it's pretty spot on with the original.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, by episode 2, that guy, yeah, everything seems lined up. There might be a few extra scenes because it is closer to the manga, but and this is just judging off of the first 2 episodes. But like there's some extra scenes, especially with the introduction to Yaiko, that is more akin to the manga than the original. So there might even be some parts of the anime that will take longer. We'll see, because everything's out now, so they have everything. They don't need to filler it. They don't need to, do anything to it. They just gotta adapt the manga, and that's it. What else did we? Frieren was one of them. Reign of the Seven Spellblades was another one.
Said to start that one.
JoJo wasn't on it, but I felt the need to start that. Any other anime you guys are watching? I mean, we count up to Jujutsu Kaisen, but
Which I have not done yet, so I definitely need to do that. So
please do.
Don't
I must talk to you about it.
what are you talking about? We are definitely going to spoil it. We are going to talk about how Ronald McDonald. I'm just kidding.
Not an anime, but my wife and I started a Korean drama this morning called Moving, and I've only seen the first episode, but yeah, I'm in. I'm definitely enjoying it.
You guys should watch Yumi's Cells.
We've been trying to get them to watch Yumi Cells for a while.
It's so good. It's so cute. I love it.
Not opposed to it. But no, I've just been seeing the, you know me in my superhero comic booky type thing, and that's what Moving is.
I will say that caught me off guard when it just started happening. I was like, "Oh, this is that kind of show." Okay.
Oh,
but,
for which one?
For Moving.
Oh.
But for Yumi Cells, this is I'm gonna challenge you. You and your wife will fall in love with Yumi Cells in the first 5 minutes. And that is all we're requiring you to watch because we know you're going to fall in love with it. So you watch the first 5 minutes
very good
with your wife. And there may be even a chance that your wife falls in love before you, but I feel like you guys together unilaterally will fall in love in the first 5 minutes.
Kenny's watching Castlevania and has him in the mood to watch Vampire Hunter D, which I know is a big recommended from Pep. I've never seen it.
Anybody here ever watched the Devil May Cry anime?
No.
That was actually pretty good.
No, I haven't.
I think I'm like one of the few people that probably has. It's probably not that good, but I actually really enjoyed it.
So, given the fact that this was going to be a very chill episode of Mix Up, and we didn't have too much planned for it, and this is the first time we're simulcasting the TikTok, so not a lot of things are fully set up. We were going to react to some TikToks live, but that's not set up on just yet. But we'll do that next week. But I was wondering between us three and maybe Kenny, if you're still watching, if we could watch the Vampire Hunter D movie after stream. And I say that because I've always recommended it, and it's a movie. So you watch it and you're like, and then you decide whether you like it or not. It's not like a series. So what do you guys say?
I mean, Cal's got a stream, and
yeah,
that's why I said after stream.
Oh, I thought you meant this stream.
No, we're playing.
Hopefully, we're getting
trying
party
to play,
animals going tonight.
Yeah, we're trying to play some party animals up in this.
I have some stuff to take care of, and
Take care
I
of it
suppose
now.
depends on the
I'm just
rate with which it is taken care of.
That's all good.
Let's see. Uni cells. Am I spelling that? No, it's Yumi's cells. So I can type it in chat.
I got it. Oh, you got it. Never mind. Yeah.
But you definitely, if you're a fan of K-dramas, you'll love it. If you've never seen a K-drama before, you'll absolutely fall in love within the first 5 minutes.
It was my first K-drama.
Definitely was. I mean, I didn't even plan it with Cal. I was like, I'm watching Yumi Cells, and he's like, oh, what is that? I'm like, K-drama. And then I'm like, do you want to watch? He's like, yeah, sure. And then,
why not?
Like over the course of the episode, the episode 2 started playing, and over the course of episode 2, episode 3 started playing, and
then I got to the point where, like, when's the next one? When's the next one? When's the next one? I want to watch it.
And then over the course of like the next week, Cal was like, "Can we watch Shumi Souls?" So it's a fantastic one for sure. If you love romance, it's up your alley. But if you love,
I typically don't, so that's why I was genuinely surprised with how much I love that show. Well, normally I'm just kind of like, it's slice of lifey kind of stuff, whatever. But it's the presentation, the characters, it's so good.
The way I sell it is that if you love romance, it has that. If you and I don't want to spoil the rest, but if you love like slapstick and comedy, it has that. And there's a special kind of sauce that it has, where I could say what it is, but it'll ruin the surprise. But it has that. So
that thing it has, it's got it.
Yeah. I got a question. Do y'all prefer weekly release shows or all the shows released at once? It depends, really. I think some shows are written to be binged, and some shows are written to be experienced after you process each episode. So, I mean, there's no real, for me at least, there's no real telling what I prefer. Because if I watch a show and I'm like, hold on, I need to like think about this and then watch the next episode.
I do kind of wish that Star Wars stuff was released all at once, because it's insufferable to hear people complaining about things that just haven't been answered yet.
The show doesn't make sense. Why are they even doing this? Answered in the next episode.
It's a plot hole, because Vader doesn't have this scar and he has it in Empire Strikes, and you're like, he gets the scar in the show, but you couldn't logically say maybe he gets it after there's 10 years. Oh my god. Yeah.
No, I feel that. I think for me personally, it doesn't really matter. Is the show good or not? If it's good, I'll wait a week. If it's good, I'll binge it in one sitting. Like, it's.
But see, this is the quandary, right? With Ahsoka, I know we're not talking about it. With Ahsoka, though, you're okay to wait for a week, but you realistically want the next episode to start playing.
Well, so I mean, sometimes you want to. Sometimes you can want to be teased a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess what I'm trying to say
is not edging by show.
I guess what I'm trying to say is we wouldn't be mad if the next episode were to start playing.
But at the same time, there are certain things that I know if they dropped all at once, we would move on too quickly and we would miss big swaths of it. But on the other side, I think like the Netflix Marvel shows like Daredevil and stuff truly benefited from all dropping at once, because there were some episodes in the middle that didn't do a whole lot story wise, and I know people would have been pissed if that's all they got that week. But you could watch through it and then get to the next thing that you wanted. So like, oh my god, it goes back and forth.
I think that's the hard thing for me, is I can see how people would want it either way, because there are the people that are impatient and are like, oh god, this week's episode sucked, and it's like, dude, we have to watch the show we liked. Yeah, it's like when Force Awakens came out. And people were like, "Oh man, like it's setting up all the stuff. We didn't even get to find out anything." I'm like, "Yeah, it's the first in a trilogy." Yeah, like it's. So for me, I can understand how for some people, like they want it all now, and it's valid. But for me, I don't know. If it's good, I'm gonna watch it. And sometimes it's nice to have a break to dissect what you've watched. Sometimes it's good to have a break so you can watch other stuff too, so you're not spending a week straight watching one show.
That's true.
So here's additional context for the way I answered it before. as Matt Short said, a lot of anime, sometimes I like to wait for them to all release so I can binge them. This is true. And for anime, for some reason, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
And so when it is released weekly, I mean, I'll still watch it weekly, but that's just some anime, like, let's see. What was a recent one that I binged through and through? Well, I'm not going to spend time thinking about it. I just know that, like...
I would be livid if I was watching Boruto week to week.
Yeah.
I would be so mad. But the fact that I can just binge it and like throw it on while like working and stuff like that and not really stressing too much about it, it's fine. But if it was like 1 week happened and half the episode is a recap of what happened last week, and then the other half of the episode is like them like being like, we're about to start this thing, I'd be like, it reminds me of being a kid watching the like Dragon Ball Z on TV and with like new episodes every week, and it's like this whole episode was just Goku with his hands up screaming for 20 minutes. Tune in next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Man, I
like,
remember the
what
days the days of being like Mom, where are we going? We're supposed to go home. We have to go home right now. And you're like, no, we're going to Mervin's. And you're like, but Dragon Ball Z is on, and if I miss this episode, I will never see it again.
Oh my god.
remember.
I would always watch it. It always came on like right as I got home off of the bus, and I would remember like there'd be like a group of kids that more often than not they weren't on the bus, so we never had to stop at their stop, which shaved off like 5 minutes on our bus ride. But then whenever I would see them, like, you bastards, I might miss Dragon Ball now since you're here.
And here's the thing about today's convenience. I grew up on anime where chronology was not a concept that we had in existence, because I would grow up following Planet Namek for 3-4 weeks and then put my VCR on like a timer to record the next episode, come back, and it's Gohan ramming freaking Raditz again. And I'm like, where the hell is the next episode of this arc?
Yep.
Yep, that too. That was very much a problem.
Especially because, like I was saying, with running home from the school bus in a mad dash, slinging the backpack onto the floor and like jumping for the TV remote, and it's like not what you've been waiting for like the entire week, and you're like, I have to wait a whole other week.
I rated M for immaturity. How's it going, gents?
Hey, what up, Sage?
But yeah, I mean, it was literally getting your hopes up to see not the conclusion, but rather continuation, because by its nature, anime always leaves you on a cliffhanger, and that's why it's always best to binge it. But like back then, if you tried to follow it week to week, you really couldn't, because at the same time back then, it wasn't by virtue of them just playing repeats. It was by virtue of them not having the license to the next arc. And so that's why I was saying like Dragon Warrior had like 12 episodes and I couldn't finish it. And so for the most part, Dragon Ball Z would have up until like the certain episode, and then the continuation of Namek all the way up to Super Saiyan Goku had not been dubbed. So I will follow an anime week to week because I have to, and because we have the luxury of being able to. Because I know I can open up Crunchyroll and that next episode will be there.
It will be there.
As opposed to back then when I didn't even know if
just
it was
hoping.
Yeah.
Now, can we agree that Attack on Titan has had the weirdest release schedule of anything of all time?
It's infuriating, but I'm glad that they're taking the time to do it justice.
Okay, but I'd
How
like to
long
point
has
out
it been the final
season
Right.
1 came out in 2013.
Yeah. So Rated M for Immaturity in chat is one of my good buddies, Sage. He's the one who got me into Attack on Titan back in 2013. And
I
so the
watched
fact
it in
that
2013.
It's still not done yet. It's so funny.
And
And
the
we've been
final
on the
season's
last
not done,
season.
right?
No,
How long
that's
has
not
the final season been the final season?
over a
Like
year.
3 years.
2019, right? I think the final season first premiered 2019.
Yeah, Attack on Titan, the final season, part 3, special chapters, part 4, episode 2.
I mean, I think the show that's doing it correctly is Kimetsu no Yaiba or Demon Slayer. I think they're
Yeah,
releasing
they're
arc to
killing it.
arc rather than
Yeah.
a season where like you
The
would have
concept of the season doesn't even make sense.
Can I also say that they're doing it well, and I think JJK has also done it well. But having a movie kind of bridge gaps and build hype for it, but staying true to like what's happening in the story,
Oh, are you talking about
it feels so good.
Dragon Ball Z movies?
Or Naruto.
No, I was making a joke. Dragon
Like-
Ball Z movies were not in chronological.
Oh, not at all. Yeah.
But what I appreciate the most about Demon Slayer's arc format is that, like, if you have a regular season format, you can literally go through, like, if it were regular seasons and you were watching it, let's say you started Swordsmith arc. The season would probably end before the Swordsmith arc even ends. And so you're left kind of like in the middle of like the arc, waiting for the next season. Whereas if they animate the whole arc, release the arc, and then they go on hiatus to work on the next arc, you get full arcs. You don't get like the season ends midway through the arc. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this
Also,
is how the 1,000-year blood war is happening. But they're
I need
it's
to bite
separated
the
into
bullet to
cores.
start that.
Just start there. Just start 1,000-Year Blood War.
Mhm.
Honestly, for Cal, who's not the biggest Bleach fan, just start there and then see if
so bad
see if
about
it
it,
interests you.
too.
But don't feel
No,
bad about it.
it's a combination of I feel bad because I know people that love Bleach so much, and I also feel bad for how much time I've spent on it, and I still don't like it. So it's like, where's the time gone?
I think
But-
this might be ambitious of me, but I think the 1,000-Year Blood War has the same pacing as Jujutsu Kaisen. And starting from there, you might actually like it a bit better.
For me, it's never been about the pacing. It's just been I don't care about any of the characters nor the world that they've built, and I don't know. It's normally one of the two will catch me and then kind of make up for the other one. But since it's a both on both fronts, that like the characters I wind up liking, you only get to see for a couple episodes here and there. With like Kenpachi Zaraki and Chad, those are the only two people that I can honestly say that I'm like, yeah, I like these characters. Everybody else, I'm like, nah, I kind of hate you, honestly.
Well,
Which
that's kind of the challenge for the most part for all long running series, right? Because there will be full ass seasons of Naruto where I'm like, I don't care about you. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's totally valid.
Like, I'm sorry, Konohamaru, but I don't care about you. Let's go back. Let's go back to the Tsukiyomi arc.
No, there is there's a Laura Croft anime that's coming.
Hey yo,
I don't know if you saw the trailer or whatever for it, but it looks good. I'm into it.
I didn't see the trailer, but I did see the announcement for it.
Yeah, so they released a trailer and it looks really good. And I'm gonna watch it. So
I still need to watch Cyberpunk Edge Runners now that I've started Cyberpunk and I'm enjoying it. I think I need to watch that anime now too.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I gotta finish that.
I know nothing about it and have seen nothing on it, so
If there's a commercial for it inside of the game that you might find.
Really?
But
oh geez.
but yeah, and the events of the show take place before the game starts. So like,
There's
Oh.
a
you
drink.
can
for,
watch it right now.
There's a drink for the main character too.
Yeah.
Really? Maybe I've seen it.
But I mean, since we're getting some new faces here, if you are just tuning in, there's one anime recommendation that I want to make to everyone today to start, because it just premiered and it dropped 4 episodes. And I'm typing it in right now.
Oh yeah.
We gave our elevator pitch on it earlier, but if you're just now tuning in and just joining the anime conversation, Frieren Beyond Journey's End is what it is. It is an anime in an isekai that is after the journey. And you're like, huh? What happens after the journey?
Put it on. Grab yourself some tea. It's not going to be your, super action packed thing, but you are going to love it and feel it in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds fascinating to me because it's similar, like, thought experiment of like One Punch Man in a way, of like what happens when you are the strongest hero, like, and you just get bored, but like what happens when you are an immortal race and the journey is done, like what is there to life now?
Like Overlord.
I think that's fascinating.
Tensura. Or Slime.
Psyche K.
I need to watch that one so bad.
Slime, you do go journey with them too. But when you log into Crunchyroll, there's one. I mean, I know the English title. English title is "Am I Actually the Strongest?"
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And yeah, so I'm gonna give that one a shot as well.
What was funny about when I saw that, the next slide was, I am. Thoughts on Sword Art Online? The first time I saw it, I enjoyed it. I loved it. Didn't much care for Alfheim. Gun Gale Online was pretty good. After that, I kind of broke off into better isekais like Konosuba and Log Horizon. There's one on Hulu that almost nobody has seen that was just spectacular, and it was called Grimgar.
I haven't heard of it even.
Well, you know me. I come in with the titles no one's ever heard of. Like, what's my favorite? Zega Pain? What the hell is that?
Yeah, watched it and I'm like, oh, what is life now?
Did you guys watch the Alicization SAO?
Alicization.
I have not.
I've seen it. I've seen it around. I haven't gotten into it. But I'm definitely gonna go on an anime binge.
What is that title? Finishing my residency at a centaur medical practice in another world.
Oh yeah, that's par for the course.
I mean, it is, but it's like, wow. I haven't even heard of that one.
Oh, any of you guys watch the show Cells at Work?
Yeah,
I
I think I watched like about half of the first season.
Okay, I didn't finish the first season either because I got busy. But
That's exactly what happened to me. That was
for anyone in the chat who hasn't seen it. It's wild because it takes place inside a human body, and imagine assigning things in the body to anime characters. So like, red blood cells are carrying little boxes of oxygen, and then someone will get a virus, and then a bunch of like badass white cells will like come flipping around corners and like try to like ninja
beat
them
the
to
crap
death.
out of them. Yeah, it's actually really sick. And the thing that I'm actually frustrated with is it was the exact same thing for me. I started it. I think I started a new job or lost a job or something, and I like put it on a shelf, and I haven't thought about it literally until right now. And I'm like, oh man, that was a really cool one. I need to go back and watch that now.
It makes me mad that this didn't exist when I was a kid, because like this needs to play in schools. You know what I mean? Like right next to Magic School Bus. We should be getting Cells at Work and Dr. Stone.
Oh yeah, right next to the Voyage of the Mimi.
So just Osmosis Jones, yeah, but like actually good and cool.
Who in the chat, if any at all, went to school watching Voyage of the Mimi? You know, it had Ben Affleck in it. It was about a boat, and they were searching for humpback whales. It was a weird educational show.
Also, lastly, there was one more show that I did want to give a shot to. I'm curious if you guys have seen it at all. Mashal.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know a bit, and I want to watch it. Speaking of Harry Potter,
that's basically the plot. Is like it would be Harry Potter if the main character had no magical affinity, so kind of like
Black Clover.
what's his face, Black Clover, but actually has none at all. Black Clover, you end up finding some stuff about him later on. Anyways, this character just gets super buff, and so it's like One Punch Man going to Harry Potter school. That's like the premise.
What one's that one now?
Mashal. I typed it in the chat. But as Rated M for Maturity says, they made up that title, but there's so many anime like that, just we didn't second guess it.
I mean, honestly, that's what I'm like. That sounds like it could be legit.
I have not seen the 12 episode horror series Mononoke.
I'm excited for Uzumaki.
But yeah, I mean, anime's popping off as it should. I think somebody asked, have you guys seen Vinland Saga? I did start Vinland Saga. I'm I think 6 episodes into that one.
That's on my list too.
So many.
So I've seen the entirety of the first. I think it's the first one season, or maybe first 2 seasons. The one when it came back, I haven't watched any more of it, but it is really good.
I remember when I first heard about Uzumaki, I thought it was Naruto based, but then I just found out that it's just the name of the spiral pattern. So
we have watched
new season of Tokyo
Revengers.
Revengers.
What?
I'm a season behind.
No,
actually.
Yeah.
why is there so much stuff to watch and not enough time?
Because where I saw it end was horrifying until I heard there was more to it, and I was like, "Thank you,
Oh, jeez.
thank Jesus."
Rated M asks or says, been waiting to see Uzumaki for 4 years. Man, talking about horror series, are you a fan of Junji Ito's stuff?
I can answer that for him. That is a definite yes.
I also have another, since Kenny said everybody should drop a recommendation, and I guess we'll go around asking this as we start to kind of wrap things up for this episode of Dyad and the Force. My recommendation, especially since like it was so awesome, I'm gonna have to go with Frieren. If you see Frieren on Crunchyroll, just dive in. Like, you'll, as Choco said, it's not like you're not gonna get a huge dose of adrenaline because it's not your typical like action anime. But Frieren is a story you don't think you need until you get it. And I've only seen 2 episodes, so I'm excited to continue it. Choco or Cal?
Yeah, my recommendation, this is going to be an oldie but a goodie, but a lot of my friends haven't seen it. Assassination Classroom. I love it.
We need to finish that.
Much.
We haven't watched it in far too long.
Yeah, because I was watching it with Aggie and with Cal. It's action packed. It has a ton of heart. Stories about students and mentors are always just kind of beautiful, but the way it turns its plot on its ear and ends up being like a super wholesome thing about child assassins is wild.
Oh, Naruto? I'm just kidding.
Kinda.
What platforms are y'all on? I always catch y'all on TikTok, but it sounds like you're on other ones. Yeah, we're streaming right now on the Red Tube, the Red Tube platform.
The red play button.
You can find us there at Dyad in the Force, DYAD. But, we've recently unlocked new technology that allows us to simulcast on TikTok as well. So we'll future Dyad in the Force episodes will be on TikTok as well. But you can always subscribe to us on the tubes. And subscribe to or follow Calforer on Twitch, twitch.tv/Calforer.
Oh, hey, that me. I play games sometimes and do things.
No, don't do. Don't.
Oh no! Danger!
I'm always hesitant to say it on this platform because the last time I lost access to live on TikTok was because I'm assuming I'm being petty here was because I had my YouTube name on the live, so I just have the name of the show and us. But if I can get away with it, you can find us on YouTube. We're live on YouTube right now and TikTok.
I think it can be said, just maybe not visually on it. I don't know.
I'm hesitant about
Hefty shrug.
logos in general, but at least the one that we have is just a show logo. But sorry about that. Connor says the tubes of you. Don't Google that either.
Oh no.
I don't know, but it sounds like it would return a bad result.
Probably. I have two recommendations. One is only because I'm somebody who I love small little crafty things, painting things, Legos, putting stuff together, and have always for a large part of my life wished that they could be more than just a stationary object. And there's an anime that takes place with Gunpla, little Gundam model figures called Gundam Build Fighters. And it's basically an anime where they have the technology to animate these and go on full-on Gundam fights against one another with these models that they make. And the more proficient you are at creating them, the better they are going to perform and to handle and to be. So it's part it's like if you took Gundam and then made it like a Street Fighter competition where it's people versus other people from different countries and how they have different build styles and stuff like that. And then mix in kind of a fun story between friends where one is all crafting skill but no mechanical skill, and the other one is from a completely different reality and is all skill behind the controls and has no idea about anything else or even about people really. And it's a weird one. It's a good one. I really like it. Is it like Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan good? No, but it's a good time. It's a good time. It's a slow burn for me, and it's one that I just really enjoyed. But I would honestly say a true recommendation. If you've never seen Samurai Champloo, do yourself a favor. Please watch that.
Yeah.
It's a classic for a reason.
We recently
It's so good.
revisited the first episode.
Yep.
Man, still holds up. It's
It's
fire.
still so good. It's always been one of my favorites. All time's probably still Cowboy Bebop, but I know that that's kind of a harder one to get into because it's a little bit more episodic at times.
Yeah, but they're cousins, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that you mentioned Gunpla and Gundam, I do have another recommendation, and that is Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury.
Interesting.
Which I've been meaning to watch. Oh man, that one's really high on my list as well. It's one of the newer ones that just recently came out, and so that's a new thing that has me super excited.
Oh, wow.
Also, Kinkin Ashura.
Highly recommended by my brother. I watched the first couple of seasons of Kengan Ashura as well. If you're into fighting. If you're into Kenichi. But 396532885780099. I keep forgetting
Nice.
I literally own Samurai Champloo and still haven't finished it. I feel shame.
It's good. It's just the style and vibe of that anime alone is S tier. And then like story, the characters, all just a good time.
Yeah. But with that said, it's time to wrap things up. We've had a great episode, a great maiden voyage on simulcasting to TikTok as well, talking to all of y'all on TikTok about anime, the stuff we're watching this fall. Don't forget our recommendations: Freeren, Assassination Classroom,
Gundam
Cal-
Build Fighters.
Gundam Build Fighters. I thought you had another one too.
And Samurai Champloo. But,
It's
yeah.
Samurai Champloo. But yeah, anime is great this season. If you're watching Jujutsu Kaisen as well, if you're watching Demon Slayer, if you're watching Chainsaw Man, there's a whole bunch of anime that's just, if you open up Crunchyroll, you will find something you enjoy. But,
Guaranteed.
Cal, any final words? Anything you want to plug?
I mean, yeah, we're going to be going live tonight at 9 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully for some party animals, if we can get some folks around. Otherwise, possibly some Apex Legends or something like that. We'll see. Should be a good time.
And that'll be on twitch.tv/Cal4. If you could see it
Oh,
on,
yeah, that.
on his viewport right now. It's spelled in such a way. Choco, any final thoughts?
Watch anime, people. That's good
Heck
stuff.
yeah.
Absolutely.
It's the ultimate in just straight up creativity. So check it out.
I'll share that sentiment. Next week we'll hopefully be back with Cal and Freddy's roommate to talk about that show. If you know what we're talking about, the show that's called Togruta. We'll talk about that next week en masse because there's so much to talk about. Shout out to everybody in the chat who has rocked with us for this episode. Rated M for Maturity, Connor, Darthman86, or Kenny, Matt Short, 3965322 396532885788099 Kaizen. Let's see here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we will be live every Saturday at 5 p.m. from now on YouTube and on TikTok. So stop by and hang out with us for your Saturday evenings. But thanks everyone for tuning in. That's it. On to the next one.
For light and for life.
We are all the Dyad.
May the force be with you. And anime be your friend. Always.